welcome to another starting lineup. I, of course, am Andrew Wiebe. As you can see, another three-man show here. Jason Segini nowhere to be found on this Thursday. He's somewhere in Southern California doing well. We're not quite sure. Either way, I'm sure you can get at him on Twitter for some fantasy advice. Just one thing to remember with that in mind, Mira's French Licks, nearly 100-point lead over Newborn FC. So I think you're going to want to keep it here for your fantasy advice here in round 26. The lone bye in 26, Chivas USA, so avoid them. Remember, though, they do have a double in round 27. But the big news this week, that second wild card, the one with an expiration date, that expiration date is coming up. Saturday at 6:45 Eastern, that one goes poof. And you've got to use it now or you're going to lose it. With that in mind, we had a ton of people write in asking, hey, if you had 15 guys, who would be your ideal team? I've put my team together. I think it's pretty salty. We'll run through it right now from top to bottom. All right, we're going to take a look at this as if it's your lineup here in round 26. Starting in goal, Clint Irwin has been solid all year at 4.6. Still a bargain. Home to Vancouver, he's a good buy. Running along that back line, Andrew John Baptiste, a double in round 27. Yedlin, a double in 29. Andrew Farrell, solid all year long. And then Matt Hedges, a little bit pricey there at 5.6. FC Dallas has struggled a little bit, but Hedges has not suffered. He's a goal threat. You expect him to pick up points. A good play there, in my opinion. Diego Valeri, once again with that double. Javier Morales has a double too. And now the main event, Landon Donovan. We've called Graham Zusi Captain Fantasy. I'm not yet willing to strip that title from him, but Landon Donovan, 19 points in his first game back. I expect him to just keep on rolling with Robbie Keane healthy next to him. And then, of course, Mauro Rosales. You expect him to get some points here. Clint Dempsey coming to the lineup. No Eddie Johnson this week, but still, I think he is a great play for you in the weeks ahead. And then up top, Blas Perez. 2 goals last week, an obvious one there. He has a double week coming up. And then Kenny Miller, a big goal for Scotland against England. Running quickly along the bench, Dan Kennedy, you'll want to take advantage of him. A couple double weeks coming up in both 27 and 29. Perhaps that Chivas USA defense can surprise us. Dylan Powers, solid and cheap. And then Corey Ash and Eric Torres rounding it out. That is my 15. Those are the guys I'm going with. A mixture of things here. You want to look ahead, make sure you're accounting for those upcoming weeks, but you also want to get the points right now, and I think this team does it. Some of you may be wondering, hey, some of these have direct matchups. Personally, as a fantasy owner, I don't worry about that. Go for points. Go with the guys you think are going to pick those up, and this is my 15. All right, moving on to the fan questions this week from Dan. Is Donovan the new Zusi? Well, considering Graham Zusi's been hurt with that quad strain, I don't think that we're yet ready to take that spot away from him. He's been the most productive player in fantasy. Give him a little bit of time. But as far as plays right now, Landon Donovan is your man. As I said before, 19 points in that outburst last week. I think it continues. I think if you don't have him on your team right now, you're probably making a mistake. He is a shoe-in captain for me this week. Not yet captain fantasy, but we'll see. There's still 10 to 12 weeks of this season remaining, and he could jump into that spot. Next up, Jay Heffernan. Obam Martins, keep or get rid of him because of possible injury. Also, you guys rock. Well, since Jason's not here today, I rock, and that's great. But I'm going to say avoid Obafemi Martins this week if you don't already have him. He rode the bike on Wednesday, did not practice fully with the Sounders. No Eddie Johnson this week. He's on that yellow card accumulation, so you expect them to try to get him in the lineup. If that doesn't happen, though, Lamar Neagle, a great option for you. Probably the guy that would slot up top. 5.4 million, extremely affordable. He's one to look at considering Obafemi Martins is certainly on the fence right now. And then finally, from Wes Brown, what's the best midfield pickup for $8 million or less? Sarvas, Lee Wynn, or Darlington Nagbe? Sarvas is a picture of consistency. I get that, but I'm going to recommend that you go with Darlington Nagbe. A little bit more bang for your buck. At this point in the season, you need those big point outbursts, and I think Darlington Nagbe is your best bet there. He's also got that double week coming up in 27, so perhaps you can take advantage of that one. With that, that's all we have here on this week of starting lineup. We'll see how that 15-man team does, my wild card team, come next week. We've got that one in the system. Will I beat your score with that? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Either way, round 27 next week as a double week. We'll be back on Tuesday. Until then, good luck in your fantasy matchups.